Hello to my beautiful friends out there. Welcome to my channel, Astro. And this is your monthly forecast for October 2025. We've already moved into fall, and October is a cleansing month because we have Mercury being the star of the month and Neptune moving back into Pisces at 29 degrees, along with Saturn at 26 degrees. And there are other planets that are following. Mars is in Scorpio. We have Mars. Mercury is going to start out in Libra, but we have Mars, Neptune, Saturn, and then we have the Sun, and Mercury will also move into Scorpio this month. So there's an emphasis on the water. Okay, water represents reflection. It also represents what you can't see. Okay, it is a portal as well. So with this water energy happening this month, we have this it's a recalibration. Neptune and Saturn moving back into Pisces is the opportunity, and the last one, to make sure that we have brought the things up that we need to let go of. And for some reason, for some of us, we forgot something, and that something needs to be addressed, and that's why they're back to show us the way. Okay, and then we have Pluto in Aquarius stationing direct, and with that direct motion, the retrograde already brought things to the surface. Now that it's at the surface, Pluto is taking action swiftly, quickly. So the cleanup is happening, and some of it is going to be whether you like it or not, okay? But I suggest that you go with the flow, because we still have the North Node in Pisces and the South Node in Virgo. So this North Node energy, along with the Neptune and Saturn in Pisces, we need to, make sure that we set our boundaries going forward. And because Neptune and Pisces are boundless energies, and sometimes with that energy, you may want to overextend yourself. And with Neptune being here, Neptune wants us to recognize our fear from our intuition. And that's where the fog and the confusion happens with Neptune. Neptune is very spiritual. It wants us to be on our spiritual path and grow spiritually, very compassionate. But we always tend to reference Neptune with the fog and the confusion. However, there is a reason for that, because that is about us being more keen about what we are experiencing, and know that the experience is either fear-based or your intuition speaking to you. Okay, So I don't want to spend too much time on this intro. Let me see what else was there that I wanted to share with you outside of Pluto and Neptune. Okay, well, oh, all right. We do have the full moon in Aries, and that's happening on the 6th of this month. And, even though the full moon is about releasing, this is an action oriented full moon and taking charge and being assertive in your persona, period. Okay. There's also Chiron in this action as well, and Chiron is going to highlight where the wounds are. Okay. And with the full moon being in Aries, there's a lot of emotion behind that because Aries is the first house. And with the first house, it's all about your head and your body, your personality. So, somewhere, with this Aries full moon, you are needing to heal a certain part of yourself. And there's, so much healing going on this month with Neptune, Chiron, and Pluto. But for the most part, Pluto is about the collective, okay? But, there's still some personal issues for each of us. So let's talk about the rest in the forecast. So I'll see you there. Hello to my beautiful Taurus risings out there. Taurus Sun and Taurus Moon, you're welcome to collect some information from this forecast. It will help give you a bigger picture if you know your sun, moon, and rising signs, okay? So, for the most part, this is the bigger picture. Your sun generally represents your work. And then, of course, your moon is about your emotions. And then your rising is giving us that bigger view of it all, okay? So let's get right into your reading. So on the 1st of October, we have Mercury in Libra squaring Jupiter in Cancer. And this is happening in your 6th house of daily routine, your house of health, your house of work, and your house of being of service, and your subordinates, superiors, co-workers, okay? And your 3rd house, which Jupiter in Cancer is in, it's about your communication, it's about your siblings, your childhood friends, short trips, and your neighborhood, okay? And education as well. Early education is how this 3rd house communicates, okay? So during this time, Taurus rising, you may be busy with numerous projects and ideas, okay? Making it difficult to focus on one thing at a time, and that has to do with Mercury, okay? Because Mercury, we tend to overthink when it's active like this, and it's in a square with Jupiter, okay? You may overlook important details in your work or daily tasks because your desire to do it all yourself gotta, ease up. You may have communication challenges with siblings or during short trips and learning, and your optimistic outlook might not align with your practical realities. Okay? And the optimistic outlook is about Jupiter in Cancer. Okay? And Cancer is it's about security. It's about, a home. It's about connecting with family. And Jupiter is more expansive. So here, your optimism may not be helpful, during this square, okay, because it's creating tension. And this tension is all about recognizing what it is that you need to change within yourself for your personal growth, okay? That's what the squares and the oppositions are for. And oppositions can tend to be harder to get through than the squares. Okay, so on the 6th, we have Mercury in Libra, and this is in your 6th house again of daily routine, your work habits, your health, your not your siblings, but your coworkers. Okay, and being of service to others. So this is opposing Chiron. And Chiron is in Aries, and this is happening in your 12th house. And this is your house of retreat, okay? This is the house of the unconscious, the unseen. This is the house of your spirituality, your karma, okay? What else can I say about this house? Your hidden enemies are also there, okay? So with this, you may feel pressure to communicate about hidden issues that may lead to conflict with those who represent authority or challenge your independence. Okay, and that's Chiron and Aries here. You may face issues with work-related miscommunication, difficulties with coworkers, or you may experience mental stress. Okay, you may find yourself in situations where your attempt at communication and negotiation, that's Mercury in Libra, triggers, feelings of being attacked or misunderstood, leading to a sense of woundedness. Now, this is the Chiron in Aries, and this is how it's affecting you, Taurus Rising. Okay, and because it's in your 12th house, you really can feel, what's happening. But don't just feel it, just allow yourself to let it go, okay? Because, this, you may experience some pain around this, and that's the feeling. It may be some kind of trauma that you may have been keeping pushed down, but because of what the transits that's been coming up for us, it's been bringing up long overdue energies, patterns, loops that we no longer have use for, okay? So it's time to let the mask, release the mask, okay, and become more authentic in who you are. Take a look at yourself and look at what you want to be or who you want to be, because the goal in life is for us to remember who we truly are. Okay? So let's move on to the 6th. And on the 6th, we have Mercury moving into Scorpio. And I don't know if I mentioned to you, but we have about 5 planets that are in water signs this month. So, with water, that's emotional. And you can really take a look at yourself deep down with this water energy flowing through us, okay? Because it acts as a portal, a mirror that reflects back to us what we need to see, for good or bad, okay? So let's see. Mercury moves into Scorpio, and this is happening in your 7th house of relationships, partnerships, business partners, legal matters. It could be friends and family as well. Okay, and open enemies are here as well. Okay, so you may be drawn to deep, that's the Scorpio energy, meaningful conversations that focus on the psychological and emotional aspects of your relationships. You have opportunities to think strategically in your business and personal partnerships. You may experience a significant transformation in your relationships and connecting on a deeper level. And that's good, because that sounds like growth to me, but it all depends on, where you are in your evolutionary process. All right, so we have the full moon happening on that same day, the 6th, and this is in the sign of Aries. It's going to be happening at 8:47 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and again, this is happening in your 12th house. All right, so Taurus Rising, there is much to be said about it's like the push. You're getting so much help with letting go of those old patterns, because you're a fixed sign and you have a tendency to be stubborn and not want to change. But this is a force that is beyond your control, and you have to do it, even if you do the kick and stomping kind of thing. It's going to be happening for you. Some of this, I don't know, it's hard for me to see if my record is still on, but it is. So anyway, so during this full moon, things you thought you moved out on from may resurface, okay? Revealing uncomfortable truths about yourself and your past, okay? You may have a heightened desire for spiritual growth with a deeper connection to the soul. Now that's the good part, because you need to start making that connection to something that is bigger than the vessel that you house, okay? And the collective unconscious as well, because we're all one. We're not separate. It's just this dimension that we live in, or that we are communicating through now, where we think we are separate, which we are not. Okay? And with this Pluto in Aquarius, it is changing that frequency. whereas we're going to be seeing things from a different perspective. Not all of us, but some of us, okay? So you may have a natural urge to withdraw from the world, seek quiet, or engage in retreats. And that's because it's in the seventh house. And with this full moon being in the seventh house, it really is working on you letting go. And at the same time, you may be feeling an energy drain. Okay, so you do need to rest because you're working at a faster pace when you're sitting in your 12th house energy. Okay? All right, so on that following day, on the 7th, we have Mercury still in Scorpio, squaring Pluto in Aquarius. And this is happening in your 7th house of relationships and your 10th house of career and your public persona, you know, how people see you, okay? So this again is some tension. It's a square between your relationships and your personal public your public identity here. So during this transit, you may experience intense conversations or negotiations where hidden agendas are revealed that leads to power struggles for control. Okay? And wow. And Scorpio, you are, control freak too. So you may experience being misunderstood or breakdown in communications. This transit, it calls for profound honesty in your communication. You may find new strategies that transforms the way you achieve your career goals and interactions, which is good because again, this Pluto in Aquarius is, retrograding is really digging up stuff. And these are things that are going to be coming up to the surface, or they're already at the surface. But once we get to Pluto station direct this month, then that is going to be something we have to deal with because it's ready, okay, and it's there, and you can't ignore it. Okay, so on the 13th, we have Venus moving into Libra, and Venus rules Libra, so this is good for you. And this is happening in your 6th house, and this is your house of health, your house of daily routines, and work, your subordinates, your co-workers, and your being of service as well. So you may experience increased harmony and cooperation at work, find joy in service oriented or public facing jobs, and find that self-care and a healthy lifestyle improves your health. Okay? This can be a favorable time to pay off debts as well and resolve conflicts with enemies. Now your 6th house is in opposition to your 12th house. And in your 12th house, those are your hidden enemies. So maybe some of your hidden enemies may show up. And Libra and Venus both rules the 7th house. And so some of your open enemies may, show up for you to resolve some conflict with. Okay, Taurus Rising, so let's move on to Pluto in Aquarius stationing direct in your 10th house. And as I was saying, this is your house of career and your public reputation. And this is happening in the 6th house. No, this is in your 10th house. I just said that. Okay. So, as I said before, now that Pluto is stationed direct, things that it was working on, bringing up forward in retrograde is now settled up to the surface. So this is something that you're going to have to deal with in your public life and in your career space. Okay, so you can expect a deep, potentially radical shift in your career path or vocational direction. This could involve a complete overhaul of your professional life, a shift in your career's purpose, or a transformation of your public image. Okay, so there's something to gain here. Okay, so you may encounter power struggles as well as the possibility of having more influence and authority within your professional sphere. Okay, so just know the collective is also involved with this Pluto and Aquarius energy. So it is even an even bigger picture than your 10th house. We're looking at the government here in the U.S., how it is dismantling, you know. So it's like we know that the phoenix rises from the ashes, and that's Pluto. But we have to get down to, the root cause of it all. And once we get down to the root cause and pull it up, then we can create some new growth looking forward. Because Pluto in Aquarius wants freedom, wants us all to have our freedom. However, there is, some differences in the government because they want to create an authoritarian regime here. But the people are not going for that, even though, we haven't gotten to the point of exercising it on a, there's pockets of exercising rights. We all haven't joined together as yet to say no and make the changes that we want to see happen. Okay, so moving on with the 16th, we have the Sun in Libra and is squaring Jupiter in Cancer. And this is happening in your 6th house of daily routine and your 3rd house of communication, early education, your siblings, your neighbor, your childhood friends, and your community. Okay? So during this time, this transit indicates tension and internal struggle. So, the internal struggle is the struggle within yourself, okay, where your responsibilities may feel at odds with your expansive ideas and communication, okay? You may feel overwhelmed by a conflict between the practicalities of your daily tasks, that's your 6th house, and your desire to think or speak big, that's your 3rd house. And this may lead to exaggerated beliefs or opinions, okay? So just know that it's time to, remove the facade and be more authentic, okay? Conversations with families or in your educational settings may be overly emotional or dramatic. Okay, and we have the overly emotional part is from Cancer. Okay, and the sun is considered the drama king, the ego. So there we have it, the sun in Libra square Jupiter in Cancer. All right, so on the 21st, Taurus rising, we have the new moon in Libra, and this is happening at 5:25 a.m. in your sixth house. The new moon encourages you to start new wellness practices, establish healthier habits, or focus on self-care. It's a good time to create, refine, or organize your daily routines and habits. You may change your fitness plans, diet, or daily schedules. Good time to focus on pet care as well. Okay, so here we have Neptune retrograde, and this is happening on the 23rd, and it's at 29 degrees Pisces. So Neptune was in Aries, and now it's moving back for the last time to the 29th degree, which is critical, of Pisces. And this is where Saturn is at 26 degrees in Pisces right now. So they're both here. Saturn is grounding and Neptune is boundless, but Saturn is here helping Neptune's energy have some boundaries, okay? And we can see that the fog and confusion that is created with compassionate, spiritual, caring Neptune is about the fears, okay, and your intuition. So, it's hard to recognize what the fear is, or if this is really a fear, as opposed to if this is really an intuitive opportunity to look into things. So that's what's being cleared here. And there's also some old patterns that we or you as a Taurus rising, and this is happening in your 11th house of large groups, where you may have forgot to let go of something, or there's something that you didn't know was there and you didn't take the time to move it out. But here's the last shove here with Saturn and Neptune in Pisces. Okay, so here you may feel a disconnect or dissatisfaction with your current friends or social groups as you question your shared goals and dreams. Okay, this is a critical time to establish clear and empathetic boundaries with your friendships. So, you know how to be nice. And this is with your friendships and groups. And to avoid codependency or being taken advantage of. Because, not having any boundaries, you can, try to do too much people pleasing. So you may experience a surge in spiritual or artistic energy, and you may be inspired to define your spiritual path and express your creativity in profound ways. Hidden or idealized realities may surface for you to let go of. See? And that'll be the last push for Neptune. Once it moves back into Aries, then we're going into fresh starts, new beginnings. So the clearing is all about making space for the new beginnings to happen, okay? You want them to flower. So the last thing I'm going to talk about today with you, Taurus Rising, is the Sun in Scorpio. And this is happening in your 7th house of relationships, partnerships, business partners, ex-partners, open enemies, legal matters, family as well. Okay? So during this time, you may experience ego clashes and disharmony in your relationships because control with the Scorpio energy. You may have a strong desire for emotional closeness, understanding, and quality time with loved ones. You may need to redefine the boundaries in your relationships to ensure that they are more balanced and meet your needs, okay? And any secretive stuff, you need to, open up a bit because we're dealing with, your ego here with the Sun in Scorpio. And, it's definitely going to affect your relationships, okay? And it's just a transit, so it's not going to be too long. This will just be for, the month because the Sun will be moving into Sagittarius thereafter. But anyway, it's still going to leave some effect on you where you are going to have to deal with that trauma of control. All right, so Taurus Rising, this is your forecast for October 2025. And until next time, bye for now.